Hello, everyone. Once again, it's your favorite time of the week. You are watching the Alphabet Football Talk Show. I am your host, Marcus the Alphabet. Sorry started off a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties, but we're here. We're going to push forward like we normally do and get this party started. As usual, I'd like to introduce you all to my lovely co-host, Miss Die Hard, Mona Die Hard Die.
Hey guys, what's up? Sorry we're having technical difficulties, and Marcus just mentioned that, but hopefully it'll go smoothly for the next 2 hours.
And then really needing no introduction, she's been with the Rise Up group. Ramona's former co-host on the Ladies Nights, you all know her. We got Ada Cruz in the house, Jacksonville Jaguar extraordinaire. Welcome to the show. Welcome back, Ada. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Everybody, please like and share the show. And we're going to try to bring the new... Really need no introduction. She's been...
Sorry.
Are we live right now? I'm not seeing live right now up there. Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
Okay, I don't see. All right, well, anyway, moving forward, we're going to give you all the news the best way we can. Like I said, once again, please excuse us, and we're going to try to give you all the good show. So first things first, we always start off with the news. And we have some blockbuster news going on this week. I'm very happy with it, being a Cowboys follower, and the Cowboys they've added to a already very potent defense, and signed former Vikings standout Everson Griffin. I was completely surprised. It kind of took me off guard. I was like just a very good player to go along with some of the veteran players they picked up in the offseason already. I mean, this is a guy here who has had double-digit sack seasons, 13 sacks a couple of times. I mean, this guy, 10 years, wreaked havoc over there on that with Mike Zimmer over there with the Minnesota Vikings. And to get this guy for $3 million to sign him to a 1-year show-me contract with the Cowboys, to put him alongside Gerald McCoy, to put him alongside Don Taripo, DeMarcus Lawrence, I think he comes in and becomes your right end. I think that front seven, when you look at DeMarcus Lawrence, Don Taripo, Gerald McCoy, this guy at one of the ends, and then the linebackers, Jalen Smith, the Wolf Hunter, and Sean Lee. I think now, when you're looking at this defense, you're looking at a defense that can go out there and get after the quarterback. And when you're looking at some of the quarterbacks in the NFC East, you're looking at a guy like Carson Wentz, and you're looking at a guy like Dwayne Haskins and Daniel Jones from the Giants. I think this front seven, and I think this is more of an insurance policy, because they also signed Alden Smith and Randy Gregory. He's still going through some legal issues, but you got a guy here. This is your Robert Quinn replacement who left for the Bears. This is your replacement. He comes in and starts, and anything that you get out of Alden Smith is just a bonus. So I was very happy to see this. I was surprised. I was clamoring for Jadeveon Clowney, but I'll take this. I'll take this. I think Clowney was looking for a little bit more. I think Clowney's going to kind of wait and see, because he thought that there was a market for him out there. And a lot of these players are getting reality checks because they think that they're worth a certain amount of money, and hey, you know what? You think you're worth this money? Go out there in the free market and let's see what you get. Clowney was originally asking for $20 million, and no one bid. I think the Cleveland Browns offered him like 18, but he's kind of snubbed other teams. He kind of snubbed going back to Seattle. I think the Ravens offered him a contract. He said no. And as as some of these positions start, filling up, and these, with there not being any preseason, I think you're going to see some injuries and stuff like that. We're not wishing for injuries; it's just the reality of the game. But I think he's not going to really get his opportunity, and he's damn sure not getting a long-term contract. So I think this is a great pickup, and I was very happy with it. What do you think, Ramona? What do you think about this signing? Your mic is off, Mama.
Oh, sorry about that. I think it does nothing but improve your team. I thought it was a great move for Dallas. I find some things curious about it, but I'm going to leave that one for Ada to respond on. All right.
What do you think, Ada? What do you think about this move?
I find it strange. To elaborate on what Ramona was about to say, you're going to pay him, but you're not going to pay your quarterback. So I get it actually, like, I agree with you when I told you, I think it's a great thing for the Cowboys, but you're paying him. You're not paying your star quarterback who has been asking for money. Then you got to think about the fact that the guy from the Vikings has proven himself and Dak really hasn't. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's like a conundrum. You're paying one person, but you're not paying your main person. But then I kind of get it in the same sense. I just don't think it's right.
Well, his contract, the base contract is $3 million. That's nickels for, I don't want to say an elite defensive end, but a pretty damn good defensive end. $3 million. They're paying DeMarcus Lawrence $22 million. So that shows you the disparity in when you're talking about elite pass rushers, you're talking double digit sack guys. You're talking about $18 to $20 million. And to get this guy for 1 year for $3 million, that's his base, and then he has the opportunity to make up to $6 million with incentives, sacks, games played, and things like that. $3 million is a drop in the bucket, and they had the salary cap to do it. Before this signing, they were around $11 million. $3 million, you still got money to sign your rookie class, and then if something comes up, you have an opportunity to maybe go get another cheap player out there. So I think I like what they're doing. They're going out there and getting good players, and they're not breaking the bank for it, putting themselves in salary cap hell. The whole thing with Dak is, look, $3 million compared to $31 million. That's how much money people kind of scoff at what Dak Prescott's making this season, but $31 million, that's a lot of damn money. So to get this guy for $3 million is
but don't you want to make your star quarterback happier?
Well, I mean, this is just the reality of you a lot. This is not a sport without a salary cap. You have to allocate certain funds to players. And let me tell you something. One thing that we do know about Jerry Jones, if you perform and you do what you're supposed to do, do you think that I'm not saying that the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl this year, okay? And let me preface this because I'm like, if you're a Cowboys homer, how dare you say the Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year? If the Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year, just hypothetical, play along with me, roll with me here, okay? If the Cowboys mess around and go to the NFC Championship or win the Super Bowl, do you think that Jerry Jones would pay Dak Prescott then? Yeah. Jerry Jones has said that I would give up my Hall of Fame jacket to have another Super Bowl. That's been his lifelong dream. We were talking about, off the air about the Patriots and what Bill Belichick would give up. What do you think that Jerry Jones is nearly 80 years old? What do you think that he would give up for to get another Super Lombardi trophy? So speaking of money, these two guys right here, another out here getting paid, man. Everybody's getting paid. people up here getting food from food banks and stuff, and you got these guys out here making all kind of money. It's generally recognized that the two top tight ends in the league are George Kittle and Travis Kelce. However you want to rank them, they're generally regarded as the two top tight ends in the league. And you could go, I mean, incredible specimens. Just, I mean, these are the best two tight ends that I've seen playing since maybe Gronk was at his powers. Both of these guys, Kittle got paid first. 5 years, $75 million, $30 million, $30 million when he signed, $30 million when he signed, and he's got another $10 million guaranteed. So basically, $40 million guaranteed. That's what he got, and he got 30 of it when he signed the other day. 26 years old. I think he's the number one option for the 49ers. I mean, the guy is. To me, he's a throwback. He's kind of a throwback, but he's also in the mold of the modern tight end, the flex tight end, the guy that you can move all over the formation, matchup nightmare, good speed, good hands, a threat down the seams, matchup. Who do you put on him? He's too fat. He's too fast for a linebacker. He's too big for a safety. And then Kelce, after Kittle signed his deal. Kelce signed his deal a couple of hours later, 4 years, $57 million, and $20 million guaranteed. So these two guys here, they're breaking the mold. I think you'll see some of these other guys coming up. I'm thinking Zach Ertz, he's coming up. You look at guys like that, the Philadelphia Eagles tight ends. You're looking at that. So these guys here, highest paid tight ends in the 100-year history of the NFL, the two highest paid tight ends ever. So their teams really like them. I think you'll see these guys with their teams. I think you'll see Kelce probably retire with both of their teams. Ramona, your thoughts on these two guys signing? And just for the record, before we go into that, I want to ask, who's the best tight end in the NFL?
George Kittle.
Ada?
George Kittle.
You going with Kittle too? Okay, I think it's Kelce, but we'll agree to disagree. What do you think about this signing, Ramona? These signings.
What do I think about them getting the money?
Yeah. What do you think on the?
I think it's well deserved. I think it's very well deserved. I think that both of these guys are phenomenal. So I don't have any problem. I'm hearing some feedback though for some reason.
Make sure you got yours. It ain't me. I don't have.
Oh no, was it me? Shouldn't be.
What do you think of these signings, Ada? What do you think of these two guys getting the money? Were they deserving of it? What do you think?
I believe they definitely deserved it. They've set a new bar for other players. Definitely. I think this was. I don't think that it would have been a good idea to get rid of him. I mean, look what Kelce did in the Super Bowl and getting the Chiefs, helping get the Chiefs to there, the 49ers, with Kittle the same way. They're amazing players. And they're players who work for that kind of money. They've produced for that kind of money. So those are players you want to reward with that kind of money.
This is what you want when you're drafting players, guys that you went out and scouted in college, and they come in and they're everything or more than what you thought that they would be. This is what you want. This is what you want when you're out there. This is where your scouts make their money. They go out there, they look at these guys, and you're able to get a guy like I don't think either one of them were first round picks. Neither one of them were first round picks, and to get guys like this that are, before Tyreek Hill got to Kansas City, Travis Kelce was their number one receiver, even though he plays tight end. And I still think that George Kittle is the best receiving option on the 49ers. So for them to get this, they're both hard-nosed players. Never hear about them in any type of trouble. Produce on the field, model citizens. You pay these guys, and you want them. These are the guys that you want. And you don't mind signing them to these type of contracts. The contracts that scare you, the guys are like always in trouble. Am I going to get a call in the middle of the night with this guy? Is he going to beat some woman up or be drinking and driving or get suspended for drugs and alcohol? So when you get guys like this, these are the examples of the guys that you want, guys that do what they're supposed to do and perform on the field. So I say well done, well deserved, and they've, like you said, Ada, they've set the bar for a lot of guys coming behind them. You look at guys like Mark Andrews with the Ravens, Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins, Dawson Knox from the Buffalo Bills, guys like that. They look at contracts. Dallas Goedert from the Eagles. Him and Ertz, these guys. I think Waller just got paid from the Raiders. So these guys, after seeing these young up and coming tight ends, seeing these contracts, they're going to be looking at who's going to be next with that. So that's pretty much our news for this week.
Yeah.
The big news.
Well, yeah, I've got a question about the tight end position. Throughout the years, we see how players come up, and then they, you start seeing troubled players.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a tight end that's ever really been in trouble in the NFL?
Who's ever been in trouble? Calvin Smith?
Who?
I got one for you.
Okay.
Kevin Winslow Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Kevin Winslow Jr. I think he's in prison now. Aaron Hernandez.
He was in prison now. Yeah. We remember him, and they paid him.
Because it's not a position that's like a high-profile position like quarterback or wide receiver, but there's some knucklehead. Let's not get it twisted. There's some knucklehead tight ends out there that do stupid stuff, and then you get the main issue.
I'm just going back to my own team, I guess, and thinking back through the years of the tight ends we've had, and really none stand out to where, Heath Miller to me was the most underrated tight end to ever play in the game.
Yeah. You most of your tight ends, I hate the stereotype people, but when you look at I'm not saying every wide receiver is a diva, but most of your top-notch wide receivers, they're divas. Let's just be real about it. Your T.O.s, your Randy Mosses, your Dez Bryants, your Deshaun Jacksons, all of these guys, your Antonio Browns, they're the kind, because their position is so dependent on them getting the ball. You want to get as many opportunities as you can, and when you're getting 5 balls thrown your way the whole time, and tight ends even more so because they're, really a tight end is basically a cross between a lineman and a wide receiver. That's really what you are. You're an extra blocker, and there are some tight ends that are receiving tight ends, but most of the time as a tight end, you're like that 6th blocker, especially when you're facing a 3-4 team, which we got an awesome show lined up for you guys next week. Just be on the lookout next week. We got some big news coming up. We got some Rise Up is doing a lot of interesting stuff. I got some news coming up for you all in the next couple of weeks. We got some really big things going on that I'm really excited to share with you guys. But yeah, I'm
gonna read some of these comments if you don't care.
Go for it.
Okay. I think I scrolled back too far. Everybody was saying hello and that kind of stuff. Dalton says Griffin is a good defensive end, but surprised he got signed late. Thought he would have gotten signed back in March. Laura, let's see. Chair Mullen says, "Hey Ada, what's up?" And
Yay.
hello, Sharon. Good to see you. Hey, Marcus, relax, man, Sharon says. Thanks when you were getting hyped up about your Cowboys. Thomas Maselko says, Marcus Betts, I agree with you. You're right. I think that was when you were still talking about the signing of Griffin. Ricky Williams is in. He says, hey, folks, what's up? Robert Reynolds says, the way Kelsey's deal is structured is ingenious, in my opinion. He's going to retire a Chief. Eddie V. Hill comes in and says, what up, fam? Our Mike Smith said about the tight end signing their deals. Both are deserving. Dalton says, will Mark Andrews get highest paid also? I don't.
He's in the second. He was he a rookie or he's got a couple of years before, but for all those people who are fantasy football players out here, and all three of us played in the league together. I won, by the way. All three of us played in the league together, and Mark Andrews was the number one tight end in fantasy football this season. So if he continues doing what he's doing, and with the opportunities he has with Lamar Jackson, I could very well see. I don't know about the highest paid tight end, but he'll definitely be one of the top paid tight ends in the league.
Okay, you got Dalton saying George Kittle. You have Robert Randall saying definitely Kelsey, but Homer picked there. No, just teasing. we all know he's a Chiefs fan, so.
Yeah, we know.
Let's see here. Ricky says, I hope Eric Ebron can stay healthy to earn close to that. I just don't know how we're going to end up using Ebron with Vance McDonald, because we always usually keep one in as an extra blocker. Sometimes they both go out, just depending on, I think a lot depends on what kind of read that Roethlisberger sees, behind the line, and then he'll send both out. But most of the time, one of them is staying in. So I don't know if it's going to be Ebron or if it's going to be Vance McDonald, because I'm going to tell you something. Vance McDonald is a beast at tight end when he's healthy. So
he's got a little George Kittle in him. I will never forget that play he made. Was it last year or the year before where he trucked that guy? Vance McDonald, he's fought through some injuries, but when he's healthy, he was fighting injuries with San Francisco. You all actually picked him up from San Francisco, and it seems like he keeps getting like little nagging injuries. But when the guy is healthy, he is a problem.
Yeah. Iron Mike Smith says tight end being one of the hardest positions to transfer to the NFL. They have to be a part of every offensive room.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're basically, you have to be multi-talented, because you can't just be a receiving tight end, because if you're not able to block, sometimes you're having to chip TJ Watt screaming off the edge. If you can't pick up blocks, you are a liability. You will get your quarterback killed. So, what he was saying as far as like translating to the NFL, you better have some blocking skills. You better have some blocking skills.
Yeah.
Ricky Williams says, no, but Travis, all right, I'm not sure who he's talking about. Travis likes to dance at the bar.
Yeah, because they got that video of him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, just took me a minute there. Hush, Eddie Beal, reminding me of Aaron Hernandez. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Eddie. Robert Reynolds says, what other tight ends can run as many routes as well as Kelsey? Just asking for a friend. I think I read that one a minute ago. Let's scroll backwards a little bit.
It's one of those arguments where people kind of, go back and forth. Brady or Breeze or Zeke or Saquon Barkley or you know what I'm saying, where there's two guys usually at the, at every position where there's two guys that are kind of like at the top, and you're like, hey, these two guys right here, and everybody kind of falls behind those two guys there. But I think without a doubt, they're the two best tight ends in the league.
I do. I agree. They are, and they've proven that they are the top.
And that's why they just got. And that's why they both just made the most amount of money for any tight end in the history of the NFL. So somebody thinks that they're pretty damn good.
I truly believe that Kelsey should have gotten paid just a little more. But
for the fact that he won a Super Bowl.
Thank you. But with that humongous deal that they gave Patrick Mahomes, I felt that had a lot to do with it. Maybe, in the long run, they'll, something will happen. But I truly believe he should have gotten paid a whole lot more.
Okay, we're going to do a little bit of, we're going to do a little bit of college sports talk, only for the simple fact we were talking about this earlier, and we've got very limited football going on this year as far as college sports. I mean, I know the SEC are still going to be playing. A couple other groups. I actually have them in my notes. I didn't have my notebook open. The Big 12 has actually decided to postpone their football season. I'm not sure if the SEC is still in it or not. But then you got the ACC. I don't know if they're.
They believe.
Who did you say? Who did you say canceled their season?
Leagues with postponed football season.
You said the Big 12. You said the Big 12. The Big 12 and the Big 10 are two different leagues.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The Big 10 are your northern teams. That's Michigan, Ohio State.
Well, the ones that are still planning on playing is ACC, SEC, and the Big 12. They're all still playing.
Big 12.
It's the Big really 10 and the Pac-12, the Ivy League, and the Patriot League.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. A lot of people get confused with it. And, okay, just real quick. The Big 10 are your teams up north, okay? The Big 10. But the Big 10 has 12 teams. And the real Big 12, that's Texas and Oklahoma, has 10 teams. It's really kind of confusing. But the Big 10 is your northern teams, and the Big 12 is like Texas and Oklahoma and teams like that. Just to put that out there. Just so you don't get confused. But go ahead.
I had it wrote down wrong from what was up here, and then I got to look and I was like, no, I just looked at it wrong and said Big 12 I said Big 12 and I meant to say Big 10 postponed. Sorry.
Yeah.
But and the reason why we decided to talk about this is because we want to know how that's going to affect our athletes. I mean, how is that season of not playing, especially the seniors, how is that going to affect these seniors who would be possibly going into the NFL draft next year?
They've talked about lotteries. They've talked about another thing that it's a big issue is scholarships. And we were talking about this earlier before the show, scholarships. So they have promised that these players will not lose their scholarships. They still will have a scholarship and it won't go against their scholarship, which is that to me was a big deal because you have kids that are in junior year, they're in their sophomore year, they're on scholarships. We're all worried, oh my God, we're not going to play. My scholarship is going to go out the door. No, they have promised that these scholarships will still be honored. So that's a good thing.
And I think they've also mentioned the fact that like this season won't hold it against players who don't want to go into the NFL draft. Basically they're going to be able to stay in college another year so they don't miss that 1 year.
Yeah, well, you get 5 years of eligibility, okay? And my son kind of falls up. My son kind of falls up underneath this because they're not having football at Eastern New Mexico. So what happens is you still get that year eligibility.
Right.
Now this would have been his junior season, so he gets, they're talking about maybe having football in the spring. But here's the thing about it: once you start, like we've talked about it before, we had a big debate about this months ago. Whenever we were talking about when you move certain sports into different parts of the year, now you start stepping on other sports' toes. So now, because you're playing in somebody else's time. So if you move it to the springtime, now you're moving football into basketball season. And then you're also got to look at you also have to look at is the weather changes. So you're going to have a bunch of snowy games. They try to have football season over by January, like the beginning part of January. Okay, well, now you're going into like Super Bowl time frame because now the Super Bowl's played at like the beginning part of February.
Right.
So all of the sports fall on different on particular days to give the max amount of viewership. For instance, if you look high school football games are on Friday nights, right? They're on Friday nights.
Right.
College football's on Saturday night. Football.
Well, wait just a minute though. I've also known high school games to start on Saturdays as well.
And that's true. And there's some high school games that are played on Wednesday. I'm saying the majority of the games, they call it Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights. That's generally varsity football is played on Friday nights. College football is played all day Saturday afternoon and then maybe Saturday night. Then the NFL gets.
But once the high school gets to the playoffs, they actually play on Saturdays.
I understand, but now you're dealing with just a couple of teams, and they have the games. They have the games in a time slot where it's not interfering with other games. So if you start moving sports back, now you're starting to step on other sports. And here's the thing about it. What we all know is that the NFL is the most popular sport in the country. That's just what it is. It's not baseball. It's not basketball. The most popular sport in the country is football. So what you're gonna step on NASCAR? Go ahead.
But remember, this is any other year besides 2020.
I understand, but I'm telling you what they do regularly, and what this pandemic is doing is putting a monkey wrench in that. So now you're talking about, now the NFL's talking about, well, if there's not going to be college football, we're going to play some of our games on Saturdays. If you notice, around December time frame, they have Saturday games in the NFL because all of those teams are on break getting ready for their bowl games. There's the first week in December, that's generally the last game of the season for a lot of these major college football conferences. So they have a whole month of no college football, so the NFL starts playing on Saturday nights. Well, if you're pushing everything back and moving things around, that means certain sports and some sports that struggle anyway, like maybe the WNBA, you're really getting stepped on because now you're competing directly with the NFL. So if you think that there's not any, you think that if you think that there's not a lot of people at regular WNBA games, what are you going to do whenever it's NFL playoffs and your WNBA game is scheduled at the same time as a WNBA game?
Oh, well, same thing goes.
We're not going to go there because. Go ahead.
Let me say this. The SEC. The SEC put out a statement. The ASU athletic director Ray Anderson said, "We will play again in the extent that others think there is an opportunity to essentially come and recruit our players. Then we would say, hey, have at it." So basically, the SEC is saying it's okay for these other teams who are playing to come get the players from teams that aren't playing. They're going to make it possible for them to do that. So it's like a benefit to some and not a benefit to others. And that's where I think personally it's a good thing. It's going to make it complicated. Yeah. Now you're digging into other divisions to be able to
here's the thing the NCAA has said, though, that makes it fair for everybody. There's no championships. So you can still play and put your players out there, but it's not going to be like a college football playoff, number one, because of the travel, and number two, because you're going to have some conferences that aren't playing at all. So there's not going to be so basically what they're saying is there's not going to be a national football championship this season for college football. That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. And I mean, I'm pretty sure it took a lot of thinking, a lot of figuring out these teams. These colleges are losing thousands of dollars by not doing
it.
What really bothers me on this, I feel sorry for the kids, the athletes, who, especially, think about it, this year, there's been no training camp, really, not like we're used to, no preseason. So these kids who went through this last draft, the last NFL draft, who are getting cut from teams, who never really got an opportunity to get out there and show what they can do and how much they might improve in training camp. These kids are getting knocked off these teams. What happens with these guys, these kids' careers who just, we drafted you, but,
I'll say this.
To me, they should get back into the draft next year to be drafted with the players that's coming up at that point.
Yes, yeah.
It's not fair to these kids. It's not fair to these kids who didn't get an opportunity to shine in the NFL because maybe they weren't a number one player or a wide receiver, quarterback, or a running back, or a specific tight end kind of thing, or linebacker or whatever. But these kids are especially coming from like the smaller colleges, and they're against. I've looked at the Steelers and the players that we've cut, and they were, a lot of these players that we've drafted are already gone. I have a problem with that because I feel like that these kids are not going to get the same benefits as what usual NFL draftees get.
Yeah, they didn't get the opportunity that everybody else did. And
Right.
It's not fair to them. I agree. It's not fair. So take these players who are getting cut this year without being able to show their talents out in the field. Take these players, put them in a draft next year, and let them have a chance because it's not fair. I mean, it's not their fault that it's happening. It's not their fault. So
it's kind of a trickle down effect, actually, because it trickles all the way down to high school. Because what about the state of New Mexico, where I grew up, where I played high school football and a little bit of college football? They're not having any they're not having any fall sports this season. So what about? So you're supposed to be maybe going to a D1 school and you don't get to play this season. So what happens to you? So it's going all the way down to high school. These high school guys are. What if you were a highly recruited, highly watched high school senior, and then they tell you this season there's not going to be a season for your team. So it's not just college. It trickles all the way down to high school. So then these guys, they're missing out too. And maybe you thought you were going to this school and you don't get an opportunity. So it's just really unfortunate. We're a football show here. We love football. And to just see what this is doing. But my main thing is I want to see these guys be healthy. I want to see these kids be healthy. Even the pros, I want them to see, even though they're multimillionaires, some of them, a lot of them, I still want, because now you're talking about husbands and fathers and brothers and sons that are going out there and they're missing out. But I will add one last thing to this. I think this is why it's so important, and we haven't really touched on it, but I'm going to touch on it now. I guess we'll just go ahead and add this in here. I think this is why it's so important with The Rock buying the XFL, because really there's not really a there's not minor league football per se. Minor league football, in all intents and purposes, is college football. That's minor league football, and then that's where they pick most of the players from, is from college. Well, if there's no college, I hope, and what The Rock has talked about with him buying the XFL from Vince McMahon, is making it basically a farm league for the NFL, where they can go and get guys they're good enough to be pro players, but they're not going to get an opportunity to really play, and they get a chance to go there. You know, you got the D League with basketball. You got the minor leagues in baseball, where guys go to these minor teams, and they get an opportunity to play, because it sucks. You know, if you're a 5th or 6th round pick and you're sitting back and there's not a preseason, more than likely you're not going to make the team. That's just what it is. And some of these guys are good enough to play, but like you were saying, Ramona and Ada, they're not going to get an opportunity to play this year. So I think that this XFL, if The Rock plays it right, he can really, you can get some good players and give some guys an opportunity to play professional football, because it is professional football. Give them the opportunity to play where they get looked at, and then maybe have like teams affiliated with them. Like you have farm teams in baseball that's like, this is our minor league baseball team, that this is where we get our players from, and we move them up. Well, maybe they can do the same thing for NFL, for the XFL, and guys stand out in the XFL, they can move them up.
Right.
Because we used to have like we're really the only country in the world that plays American football, except Canada. But we used to have the world.
I don't think it's still quite the same.
Well, I'm just saying, and that's what makes it so hard. That's what makes it so hard. Go ahead, Ramona, read some of the comments, please.
Robert Randall, I'll get his name right off my tongue in a minute. He said, well, for the Chiefs, LDT is a doctor and feels that the career is more needed. He's more needed in that career. William's mom has stage 4 cancer and wants to be by her side. He's talking about the opt-out tracker list that I got posted right now. Chuck Thomas says, my main issue is kids allowed back in college. It's all about the money. These guys had things in place and played one game a week. Of course, I'd be mad, especially healthy. Now let's have 20 to 40,000 kids back on campus. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
He said SEC, Big 12, and ACC playing college schools in Florida too.
I mean, they're playing, but again, there's a lot of issues behind it, though. If you haven't really read up on, there's a lot of issues behind it. A lot of players are not happy with a lot of things that are going on in college football. They don't feel protected. They don't feel that that the teams or the schools are protecting their players themselves. Right. But you guys like Trevor Lawrence, who started a hashtag not so long ago and said that it was hashtag we want to play.
Right.
And there's several players in college players who are following with this hashtag. So if you go on to Twitter and you put hashtag we want to play, you'll see all the comments. And some of the first comments are coming from Trevor Lawrence saying, hey, we want to play. We want to do this. They're just making it hard for us. But again, they're thinking about the safety of the students. Of course,
Trevor Lawrence is going to say, I want to play, because he's going to be probably the first damn pick in the draft. But if you're going to be a 4th or 5th round pick and maybe not make it, Trevor Lawrence, he's looking at, I need these guys to see me, because me being the first pick in the draft, I'm going to make a whole lot of damn money. Well, if they don't see me if they don't see me, you know, I'm not, you know, you're things that might have been on my resume, like maybe national champion, Heisman Trophy winner. I'm going to miss out on things like that, and those are things that could bring me more money. So I think, of course, a guy like Trevor Lawrence, Justin, the boy from Ohio State, I can't think of his name. They're generally the two top quarterback prospects in this upcoming draft, and of course, you know, you're looking at. Clemson has been in the contention for the national championship the past couple of years. Ohio State's always up there, and you're missing out on that. You know, that's where you make your money at. Look, if I would have told you at the beginning of last season that Joe Burrows was going to be the number one pick in the draft, what would you have said to me?
I would have said you're crazy. It'll be Tua.
Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Joe Burrows basically became the number one pick in the draft because they played a season. If there was no season this past season, Joe Burrows would not have been the number one pick in the draft. Tua probably would have, maybe Herbert would have been, but it damn sure wouldn't have been Joe Burrows based off of what he had done up to that point. Right. So they're looking at stuff like that. It's like, I'm missing my opportunity to be the number one pick in the draft. That is very rare company to be the number one pick in the draft. So it's just tough. You know, we're in a situation that we've never really been in before. And a lot of these guys, you know, I suggest for this next year, you better lay low and work on your craft because you're not going to really get an opportunity to show your stuff. So what?
Videos. I recommend this to every player who thinks about joining the NFL. Videos. Keep yourself active throughout the whole thing. Make sure these teams are out there looking at your videos. Get your best videos put together. Let them see them, even if it's not on the field, but let them see them out there doing something, because a lot of teams are going to be watching these guys. Are they going to keep themselves fit? Are they training? Are they working with people? You know, they're going to be looking at all that. Now that they can't see them on the field, they have to. That's the only way, I think, to be able to get them into the draft. Without
a doubt. I mean, if you're the top rated pass rusher, you know, you're not going to get a chance to show your talent. So it's really sad, and hopefully they figure something out in these kids. You know, this pandemic, we get through this. It's going to eventually pass. You know, and hopefully these kids get an opportunity to show their skills.
Ramona, this right
the combine does help.
Talk about
and Chuck Thomas has mentioned that. And the combine does help. But we don't really know where we're going to be at when combine would be happening next year either. You know, we don't know where, you know, schools are just now, regular schools are just now starting to go back to school. Elementary schools, high school,
already
and already numbers are going up in these areas where schools have started back. So who knows what states are going to start maybe closing back down at that point. So we don't really know what's going to happen. You know, NBA has been going on for a couple of weeks now, right? We don't know what's going to happen the next week or two. Players going to start coming down with COVID. I know they're testing these guys, but you know what? We also know sometimes the guys step outside and do something they shouldn't do by going to a bar, dancing on a table. You know, we just don't know.
Well, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different for the NBA. They're in the bubble. They're in the bubble, and those guys can't leave. But you have 12 guys.
Wait. Time out. What do you mean they can't leave?
I didn't know.
You don't think they're going home to their families after a game?
No, they're not. They're not. They're in the bubble. They can't leave.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wait a minute, but then you have situations that were happening with the Seahawks that the guy snuck a girl in.
That's not the bubble. They're having practice. At the bubble, it's the teams that are in the league, and they're stuck like at Disney World. They can. Didn't you hear the players complaining about their food is brought into them? They can't have conjugal visits with their wife. It's like basically you're on a deployment like in the military. That's how
In
the
the
bubble
NBA.
works, and that's easy to do when there's only 12 players on a basketball team. When you have
Yeah,
53 to 55 players on a football team, and you're tackling people, you're blocking people, you're covering people.
Whoa.
It's different than playing basketball. I mean,
I'm sorry, but how's it? Whoa,
wait a
wait a
minute.
minute. How's it different? Have you seen these basketball players out there sweating all over each other, elbowing on each other in the face, and
Following each other, touching each other, being all over.
let me say this as nicely as I know how to say it. I don't care how physical basketball gets. It's not football. It's not football.
But it's still
but
straight.
it's more skin touching skin than it is in a football uniform.
When you're body slamming and it's all. Here's the thing: you have 22 players on the field at the same time. 22. In basketball, you have 10. You have 10 guys. You have 22 guys within a 10 to 15 yard distance of each other. Please do not ever compare basketball to football. It's not even close.
Well, that's just it. We're not comparing the sports. We're not comparing the sports. We're saying there's much more skin contact in basketball, sweat flying all over each other, than there is in football. That's what we're saying.
But the difference this season is that they are in the bubble. They're not out like with the football players
if things are getting worse and they just continue to try and have an NFL season, you don't think they're going to try to see about putting them in a bubble?
I think it would be very. Look, you got 1,700 guys. You got 1,700 guys in the NFL.
Right.
You can put 1,700. You can put 1,700 guys. You can put 1,700 guys in like one little area and have them go out. I mean, I guess you could make it like gladiator sport. Look, all of y'all are going to live in these two hotels within a block of each other, and then y'all are going to be bused to the stadium. And you're going to play your games every week. I mean, I guess you could.
I want to be clear. You said that the guys were getting tested. The guys are only getting tested daily for 2 weeks during training camp.
Ooh.
They get tested for the NFL guys are getting tested. They're getting tested daily during training camp. It's in the NFLPA. Okay. They have not said that they're going to keep on doing this after training camp. They'll get tested before games, but I don't think they're going to be testing these guys every single day, even after training camp.
I mean, and therein lies the problem, which that's what makes the season so difficult, because you got these guys playing in close proximity to each other, and you have more guys. There's 12 guys on a basketball team. There's 55 guys on a football team.
We understand that. We know how many players is on a football team.
No.
Yes, there's 53 players on a football team who have to travel the night before a game. They'll be staying in a hotel room where you got maids working there. Are they cleaning those rooms to specification? That kind of stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, we all have been into a hotel room that you paid $250, $300 for the night and walked in the bathroom and it's not very damn well clean. I've been there, but I go to a hotel room. I take my Lysol bathroom cleaner and I spray my tub out. I spray the toilet. No matter where I go, I don't care where I'm at.
You're talking about contact. You're talking about so they're testing these guys. They put them in the hotel. You don't know what's going to happen. Then you're going to have a situation like the MLB where you have players that come out positive after they've played the team, and then you have that team, and now the other team is contaminated. So you go in quarantine. Then they have some games that you have to postpone because of the fact that these two teams are now quarantined for 14 days. It's going to be a big.
I think it's going to turn out to be a lot worse than what anybody thinks.
The bottom line.
I want to make an announcement real quick. Out of all the NFL
I got
teams, there's only 3 that haven't had any players opt out. So there, I said that. I forgot that's been up there for a while. The Steelers, Cardinals, and Falcons.
That's amazing. All right, guys, I have to go.
Oh, you were supposed to leave 20 minutes ago.
He's gonna be waiting for me, like, Mom, really?
Hey, just telling you it was
Well,
ladies.
do you have the? Do you
Just
have
telling
the?
you it was ladies' night on the Alphabet Football Show.
Right.
Thank you so much, you guys, for having me on. I had a good time. Thank you for everything.
Make sure you take a picture with your mask.
Yes. So yes. Matter of fact, hold on a second before I get off, because I got it right here. Just to let y'all know, look at how beautiful this thing is. Look at this.
I love it. I do. That looks really good.
I had so many people come up to me about them, like, oh my God, where'd you get that from? I got it custom made. I'll let you know.
Hey, get at me. Get at me if y'all need everybody out there. We have a. Can you put that up real quick? Can you put that up?
I can. You just gotta let me find it.
Okay.
We didn't.
Everybody out there, if you want a custom mask with your favorite team logo, cartoon, your favorite college team, I will find it and I will have you a mask made. You are, for the record, Ada Cruz, you are the only person that I've done a Jacksonville Jaguars for. I've done Cowboys. I've done the team formerly known as the Redskins. I've done Giants. I've done Cleveland Browns. I did Cleveland Browns for Otis. I've done. I'm working on Seahawks, Chargers. If y'all haven't seen the Steelers one's really sharp. It's a Superman.
Oh, and Eddie said to tell you he got his. I didn't know if you've seen that or not.
Good. So he's actually got a Steelers mask. So
no, they're adjustable. So they're actually very adjustable. They come with these little strings in the back where you can pull it out or in to make them adjustable. They fit so comfortable. They're not as hot as a lot of the other fabric ones. I love it. It's one of the best masks that I've bought. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your support on that. Make sure you guys are getting your Rise Up gear. I got a lot of hot stuff coming for y'all. We got bags coming. We got T-shirts. We got.
I gotta go.
All right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. So I think she is gone now. Okay. All right. We're gonna take just a slight break here for a minute. Stop video. Pay some bills here, hopefully. Alrighty.
There we go. I like that music. That's real hot. That's real hot. What we got? What we got next going on? What we got next?
Okay, we're gonna go to the fun facts that you didn't have any of. So,
All right.
all right. So let me go over here. Get rid of this video. Now bring that up. There you go. We got some fun facts for you guys tonight. We were sitting around trying to figure out what we were going to discuss, and just so y'all know, Andre was going to be doing the show. That's why we were going to start the show at 7:30 earlier, so Mr. Alphabets could have, like, you know, just a night off from work and take care of some business. And well, he came to my rescue. We were having problems earlier getting Zoom to work and going live. Well, Zoom worked. We just couldn't go live on Facebook for the longest. So we came up with some fun facts that a lot of people just don't have any clue about. So I will bring up my next slide. And there you go. We're talking about the BS Patriots. Now, if anybody didn't know, the New England Patriots, at one point in time, you know, they were called the Boston Patriots. But once they moved to the Foxborough area, the owner decided he was going to change the name to match kind of like the, you know, represent the region they were in. So basically, he was going to call them the Bay State Patriots. But he wanted to use just the initials, the BS Patriots. Well, the NFL wasn't real happy about that with the initials. Of course, all of the viewers know that the BS stands for bullshit. So anyway, we all know how some of us feel about the Patriots.
Well, that's nearly as bad as the Washington team. You know, we were talking about that the other day. So what are their initials? The WTF, WFT, the Washington football team. You change up those last two letters, and you got a little problem on a news program. So
yeah, WTF.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Another little known fact here. The oldest record in NFL history is this guy right here. His name is Ernie Nevers. Had you ever heard of him?
I've never heard of him.
Okay. In 1929, in one game, he scored 40 points. He got 6 touchdowns and 4 extra points.
Oh, wow.
As a fullback. Okay. Well, that's not the only impressive thing about this guy. Not only did he play football, for the Duluth Eskimos and the Chicago Cardinals, he was also a baseball pitcher, and he played for the St. Louis. I gotta look at my notes. Browns. And he was also
the St. Louis Browns.
The St. Louis Browns.
Okay.
And he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Okay.
In 1951, and then in the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1963. But he's got the longest standing NFL record ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with the
just off the top of your head, what record do you think is just that will never be broken? Just kind of venturing off here a little bit. What's a record that you look at that just in football that just will never be broken?
Well, I would say 3 Super Bowls in a row because I just don't think we'll ever see that. I think the Steelers probably came the closest of doing that, but
I think those '90 Cowboys. I think those '90 Cowboys could have did it. If they would have kept Jimmy Johnson, I think they damn sure could have won 3 in
if
a
they
row.
had kept Jimmy Johnson,
Yes.
Yeah.
Without a
because
doubt.
we know Barry Switcher's Super Bowl was a Jimmy Johnson Super Bowl.
Without a doubt. But there was a break in between. They had won back to back, and then they lost to the 49ers that one year. I think it was 94, 95. They lost to the 49ers. That was the championship that Steve Young won. And then they came back after they got Deion Sanders, and they won that third one. But I think very easily, if they could have kept what they had, 92 and 93, that 92 and 93 team that had won back-to-back Super Bowls and kept Jimmy Johnson, I think that they could have done it. And it's just a shame. Like, 'cause we'll just never know, but that's one of those debates that'll go on for the end of time.
Right.
For me, go ahead.
This guy right here, do you know who this is?
Who is that?
This guy is the lowest paid player in the NFL, and he happens to play for the New England Patriots.
How much does he make?
He signed a contract for. I'm trying to find my paperwork here. This was one of Ada's fun facts, and here it is. Okay. Fun fact here. This is Jonathan Jones, defensive back for the New England Patriots. He signed a 3-year, $1.63 million deal with them. He is 25 years old, still under this contract. He makes $543,000 a year. Rookies make more than that.
Well, yes. And that's, we were just talking about the whole Trevor Lawrence thing with him getting upset. Yes, he's upset because I'm going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, and there's not going to be a college football season for me to win a national championship, a Heisman Trophy winner. What's the award that they get for the best quarterback? Like, they have they have other awards for each individual position. So when you look at, like, when you're missing out on that, that kind of just, it kind of sucks, And they look at this guy here is making $500,000 a year, and you got, a rookie quarterback coming in with a guaranteed $30 million contract, and it's fully guaranteed. Yeah, it kind of, he's 21 years old, 22 years old coming in and making that type of money. I could see why that would be why that would be kind of disheartening,
Okay, and here's your last fun fact. Andre actually had a couple as well, but he had to go to work at 10. So the Green Bay Packers have a bunch of enthusiastic fans. We all know this, right? Basically, if you're waiting for season tickets, it would take you 1,000 years to be able to buy season tickets. 1,000 years to buy season tickets as a Green Bay Packer fan. So you better hope that your family, if you're a Packer fan, have family season tickets, and when they die, they hand them down to their family.
Right. Have you ever been to Heinz Field?
No, I went to.
I know you went to the Cowboys Steelers Super Bowl, but you've never been to. Did you ever go to Three Rivers Stadium?
I went by Three Rivers Stadium.
Okay.
Never got to go visit. I have not been to Heinz Field yet. I actually went to Baltimore and watched the Steelers and Ravens play in 2004 when Tommy Maddox went down. So I've been to 2 games. I've been to that game and a Super Bowl. The 96 Super Bowl against the Cowboys and the Steelers. But we was really not going to talk much about that game, okay? No, that was enough for me. I said, ugh. And I was married to a Cowboy fan at the time. Trust me, it was not a pretty ride home for him. I threatened to throw him in the back of the truck. I didn't have a camper on the back of that truck. I threatened to set him out in Flagstaff, Arizona, and make him walk all the way back to Fort Worth, Texas.
And so you went from Flagstaff back to Dallas?
Yep.
How long of a drive was that?
Oh, probably way too long for Bobby.
I'll
be honest with you, man. That's been 22 years ago. You realize that, right?
95. That was 95, 96.
Yeah, 96. Super Bowl.
95, 96.
Yeah.
Neil O'Donnell, my favorite Steelers player ever.
You know what, Marcus? Don't make me not like you. Do you remember who caught 2 of his interceptions?
I do. Larry Brown, Super Bowl MVP.
My God.
Super Bowl MVP. Super Bowl MVP. I will never forget. I remember. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, because if we had won that Super Bowl, that would have been the third matchup against us in the Super Bowls, and we would have swept y'all. But it finally gave the Cowboys a little bit of redemption. You know, from losing 2 other Super Bowls against the Steelers, it gave you a little redemption there.
You know, here's the thing about it. When you look at just little things in history, if they change. If we win one of those Super Bowls from you guys in the 70s,
that would be
that totally changes how. I think the Cowboys won 2 Super Bowls in the 70s, and you all won 3, right?
We won 4.
4.
74, 75, 77, 78 seasons. Yeah. Because we skipped the 76 season. We should have won. Actually, can you imagine? Could you imagine if they had won that 76? The Steelers defense, best defense to ever play in the game.
That was, who won that Super Bowl? The Raiders?
Yeah.
The Raiders won. That was John Madden's Raiders.
Out of the AFC Championship game and went on and won. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you talk about missed opportunities for certain teams when they, and even more recently, you look at a team like the Saints losing to the Vikings in that that one play that Stephon Diggs caught. How are we talking? If Drew Brees had 2 or 3 championships, how will we be talking about? You look at, and I know this is a sore spot for a lot of my Bills fans out there. Even if you win one of those Super Bowls that you went to 4 straight Super Bowls, you win 1 or 2 of those, we're talking about the Buffalo Bills. I give the Bills fans a lot of hell. But if you win 1 or 2 of those Super Bowls, we're talking about the Buffalo Bills in a totally different light. And they have the talent to do it. They have the talent to do it.
Think about this. If we won that Super Bowl 96 against Cowboys and beat the Green Bay Packers, we would be 8 wins and 8 Super Bowl wins.
I mean, it's
real hard for teams to ever match that.
Yeah. And I mean, you talking about some of these records, and I think, as much as people give the Patriots hell, look, you guys have 6 championships, we have 5. But we're talking about over like a 50 or 60 year period. To win 6 championships, 6 Super Bowls in 20 years?
Yeah.
From 2001 to 2008, I didn't win this 18.
Yeah, but let's not sit and make it out to be that these are not any Super Bowls without asterisks beside of them either. Come on, let's not do that, because we all know it may not have an asterisk, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It may not have an asterisk on ProFootballStats.com, but we all know as players or as fans, and players know this as well. Hell, they probably know more than we do. We all know that there are several questionable Super Bowls under that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
it's
I
just
guess history will be the judge of that. What they think of that. I'm kind of me. I like greatness. But I also like fairness.
right.
The Houston Astros were just stripped and just excoriated for what happened with them.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a Dodger fan, so you know how I felt about that. I think they
Yeah.
got exactly what they deserved.
So we'll see, but
There's no way
I think that
they should. There's no way they should have beat the Dodgers. There's no way
yeah.
they should have knocked them out. No, there's just it shouldn't have happened. That was absolute. Oh, the most tedious thing. And I feel sorry for their fans, except for the ones who say, "Oh, they didn't cheat. They just got pinpointed.
No.
They just got what?" Yeah, right. I know, Ricky. Feelings. I understand this.
we don't do feelings here. What else we got, Miss Di?
That's all we've got, sweetheart.
That's all we got tonight.
Yep.
So it's 8:44 now. We started a little bit late. We're about an hour and 37 minutes. So
You got anything?
we kind of freestyled this show. We kind of had some last minute changes, but you got any last words, Miss Di, before we get ready to get out of here?
I just want to let everybody know how much we appreciate you guys, liking and sharing the shows. And we're going to be doing probably some different type of platforms as far as sharing the shows here soon. As soon as we can figure out how best to share them and get views. We love being able to talk football, obviously.
Guys, just for the record, just for you guys that don't know, the way that you all watch this show and watch me and Ramona talk, this is the way that we talk when we just talk to each other. We will sit up here and talk football for hours. It's just like, okay, I got to go to work now. I love the game. She loves the game. She brings a lot of old school. I'm not calling you old school.
I am old, by the way.
She brings up stuff to me that I'm like, okay, I have to go back into the archives for that. So, it's just amazing. Like some of the things she's seen. And we did a show recently on, greatest defenses ever for her insight with the 76 Steelers, and we had Buck Flair. Shout out to Buck Flair and Goldie Hawkins. And
you got to remember listen to this. You got to remember in the 76 Steelers steel curtain defense, I wasn't very old. I started watching the Steelers in 74. I was 5. I won my first $5 bet. At the age of 5, that was money. That was money.
Oh, yeah.
That was big money for a 5-year-old in 74. So by 76, I'm 2 years older. I'm 7 years old, and I know that the Pittsburgh Steelers are winning me money every time I watch them with my uncles. So I'm learning the game at 7. And don't get me wrong. I went back and I watched those games because I don't remember all these names and stuff just right off the top of my head kind of thing. So I've watched them over the years, and so I've learned the players. I mean, my 2 absolute favorite players ever for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Rocky Bleier.
There we go.
And Mean Joe Green.
Mean Joe Green. I'll never forget the Coca-Cola commercial where he hands the dirty jersey to the kid. That's like
I cried. I wanted that jersey so bad.
Yeah, I will never forget that. Well, I'm sitting here reading here. Ricky said I'm tagging people. Keep it going. We started a little bit late, so if you guys want us to keep going for we'll go another 10, 15 minutes or so. If you all have Ricky was I got her to say his name. So She has met her.
my contractual obligations have been met.
She has met her contractual obligations for tonight. That's all that we had. But if you guys have any questions, if you have anything that y'all want to talk about, that's all the material that we had for tonight. But if y'all want to sit up here and talk a little smack or ask some questions or something that you saw this week or anything like that, we'll go on for another 10 or 15 minutes if you guys want us to. We got some requests in here. They're saying, don't stop the show yet. Okay, that's fine. If you guys got questions or some comments or whatever, put them in the comment section. And
where does Clowney go?
Where does Clowney go?
Honestly, I thought he was going to go to Dallas, but I don't think he's going to Dallas no more.
Oh, no, I think
I'm going to tell you something right now. I know for a fact that he was seen in Pittsburgh.
He's from North. He went to school at South Carolina.
Seahawks rookie.
Where do I see? I can see Clowney. Okay, Buffalo. All my Buffalo Bills fans out there.
God almighty.
Picking up Clown. I don't know if they will. I know that you all still have a lot of salary cap space. I think if you all were able to pull off and get Clowney to go to Buffalo with the way that your defense is constructed, if you put this guy on that team, look out. I could also see Clowney in I can see him with the Raiders. I can see him with the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a lot of salary cap space. So definitely, I mean, it's not the money thing because there have been teams, the Browns offered him $18 million. I think what Clowney's going to do is sit back. I think he's going to sit back, look for a team that's kind of, needs him, that's a contender. If the Chiefs called him week 7, week 8, and they're 8-0, and they said, come in here for $5-6 million and get an opportunity to win a championship, I could very easily see Clowney going to the Chiefs. So it's just, what does he want? Does he want the money or does he want a championship? Because if he sits back, I think he has an opportunity to go win a championship.
Dalton just asked what we thought of Seattle's the undrafted rookie attempting.
That's not the girl in.
No, well, attempting to make the quarterback depth chart. This guy, sneaking the visitor disguised as a Seattle player into the team hotel. I mean, he not only just snuck him in, he actually made him disguise him to look like a team player, one of the players. I thought I kind of think what a fool. Here you are, a rookie, an undrafted rookie who actually made the team, and you're doing something that ignorant.
Yeah, I just think young and dumb. What did it say? Young, dumb, and full of you know what? You know, that's just. I mean, that's what it is. We've all done things. Done.
But my God, this cost this kid possibly a big future career. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and then you know when you're a good player, you're a high draft pick. You're gonna get other opportunities. If you're a bubble guy, you do something like that, you may not ever get another opportunity. So I'm sure that he's sitting somewhere kind of.
You see what Ricky said? Ricky said I would bring a chick in too. She was hot.
Yeah, would you do it for your career?
Yeah.
Dalton Smith says, where does Logan Ryan go? He's a slot corner. The thing with him is he's a slot corner. He wants your slot corner is normally your third corner. That's usually your third corner. He's not an outside guy. He doesn't play. He's not going to play on the outside of the hash mark. So for him, he's going to have to take a team-friendly deal, and no one has bitten yet. If you're a player, if you're if you're a big time player, you're going to generally get like opportunities. No one's really bid on him, and it's the middle of August, so he's another one. He's going to have to sit back. I think Clowney has more options because he's a defensive end, pass rusher. You're a slot corner, so for you, you're probably going to have to go in there for the vet minimum and hope for an injury somewhere. So I don't know. I mean, there's teams out there. I can see. Would you want Logan Ryan?
You know,
want Logan Ryan on your Steelers?
No, but I can see him going to a place that, like the New England Patriots.
Well, he started off with the Patriots. He started off with the Patriots, and I think he was with the. I think he was with the Titans last.
Any sense at all with him, though? I mean,
it depends on what he wants. I mean, there's players out there, and like I always say, they view themselves as like up here, and they're really like down here. And when you tell them, "Hey,
but you're look at all these opt-outs that the Patriots have had.
Yeah,
that's where I'm getting it from. I mean, with the opt-outs that they've had, Patrick Chung being gone, safety Patrick Chung gone, Devin McCourty. I mean,
one of the McCourtys opted out, or did they both opt out? The McCourty twins, one of them opted out.
No, both.
I know Patrick Chung did. I don't know if the
Devin McCourty I know did.
Okay, one of the McCourty twins opted out.
Hold on just a minute. Now
you got that list. You got that list, right?
That list. I'm gonna bring it up. Let's see. Hold on. We'll all look at it and see what we got here. All right. There's the list. Okay.
No, I don't see the McCourtys on there. Patrick Chung, Dante Hightower.
Yeah, but I think they've actually. I don't think this list is actually
an updated one
because I'm pretty certain McCourty's out. Devin McCourty, right? Will Lombard.
We'll have to. Well, he said only one did. Okay, so
I'm thinking it was.
I mean, maybe. I mean, you still got. I mean, hell, that's some of your. Chung is. I think the kid that they got, the Division II kid that they drafted in the second round, I think he's going to probably end up being your starter. I can't think of his name off, but he was highly touted safety that they drafted in the second round, Division II player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he ends up being that's taking that one of those starting taking on the other side of. Now, which one opted out? Was either one of the McCourtys plays safety and one of them plays cornerback. We'll have to figure out which one it is.
I'm looking it up right now.
But yeah, so gosh, I can't think. Kyle Duggar, that's the kid's name. Kyle Duggar.
McCourty is.
Yeah, Duggar.
Defensive back.
Well, I'm saying they're both defensive backs, but one plays safety and one plays corner. But the way that the Patriots play kind of like a hybrid type defense. They switch players all over the place. But Duggar is definitely going to take one of those safety spots just because of his draft status, I think. And then,
well, like I said, though, I mean that would be a good pickup for the Patriots, actually.
Yeah, and he would be going back home. I think he played with the Titans last year, but he started with the Patriots, so. Maybe, if he ended, you think Malcolm Butler would go back if he had opportunity? The way that Belichick did him in the Super Bowl, you think Malcolm Butler would go back to the Patriots?
I don't know about that.
Probably not. So yeah. So
what about the lost conversation? I still haven't heard anybody talk about Colin Kaepernick this year. Not a whole lot of talk about. I mean,
I think honestly, I think that ship is sailed. I mean, it's as bad as it sounds. I think if it were going to happen, it would have happened by now. You had your draft. I was thinking and that's the other thing too. just don't get it. Look, my number one goal as a general manager and owner, uh, one hit wonder.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say I need to read some of these comments because Robert Randall, under Laura Randall, is really coming up with some great stuff. Oh, well, I lost it. For some reason, I can't scroll back any further.
Let me see here. I'll read some of them here. Let's see.
Ramona's got a great point, and Belichick
Let's
stout.
see. I would bring a chick in too if she was hot. Can you see him with Atlanta Falcons? Ron Thomas. Ricky says nobody wants to go to Atlanta. Ron. Ricky Williams says Logan has a history with Joe Judge, the coach of the Giants. He was with Dalton says he was with the Titans also. I was saying that. And only one did, William Bumbar. I think he was talking about the McCourty twins. Ramona's got a great point, and a Belichick stout defense would complement Cam and the run game. Ricky Williams says Duggar, the safety we're talking about, Kyle Duggar.
Yeah.
They drafted Duggar in the second round, Dalton Smith. Dalton also says Devin can play safety and Jason play cornerback. Okay. I get them confused. They're twins. William Bumbar, how cool is it to play with your brother on a winning team? I mean, no doubt. You know, you get to play. I mean, can you, like, Rondé and Tiki?
That's what it's going to be like for the Watt boys this year.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got what's Derek? Is it Derek Watt?
Derek Watt and TJ.
And then TJ. Ricky Wilson said Butt Fumble can get a job. Cap should get one as well. William Ballard, if he didn't hold his own workout, he'd be in the NFL.
I think so too, Will. I think if he had not pulled that stunt, I think he would have already been back in the NFL.
Let's see here. Honestly, Cap was 3-16 in his last 19 games when he was a starter. Also,
that's a fact.
Well, here's the thing about it. After his whole team was stripped around him, let's not forget he lost Crabtree, he lost Frank Gore, he lost the Smith boys, Alden Smith and Justin Smith and Richard Sherman. And, I mean, he lost all of the offensive line retired, all the defensive line retired. Patrick Willis retired, Navarro Bowman retired. Yeah. I mean, it's like yes, he was, but you have to take into consideration what the situation was, you know.
Thank you. Well, all right, and I'm gonna agree with you on that. But when I tried to do that with Pittsburgh and last season, and Juju Smith-Schuster and James Conner and the receiving core on that team, and I tried to do the same thing, everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, still."
I totally agree with you. Listen, when you look. Everybody out there, listen to me, because this pisses me off, and I'm going to say this, and Ramona, I think you'll agree with me, and you saw it firsthand, okay? Do you want to know how the Cowboys got Ezekiel Elliott? You want to know how they got him? Because they went 4-12 when Tony Romo broke his collarbone twice in 2015, okay?
Yep.
So you had a team that was kind of a playoff team, and then you lose your start. You tell me one team. You tell me there's a couple of teams. There's a couple of teams out there. I'm not going to say there's no teams out there, but you tell me 4 or 5 teams out there that if they lose their starting quarterback, who's a good quarterback. I don't want to do. Oh, if Gardner Minshew gets hurt, you know look. If you have a future Hall of Fame quarterback, or you have a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, and he gets hurt and misses a majority of the season, you tell me 5 teams in the NFL that can survive losing their starting quarterback for 12 games
and still break even
and have a winning record. I think that I could name maybe a couple. I think if Dak Prescott, knock on wood, and I'm not wishing injury on anybody, if Dak Prescott went down for 4 or 5 games, I believe that Andy Dalton could hold it down. I do. I believe if Drew Brees went down for a little bit, with Jameis Winston as a backup. I believe the Saints could still win a few games. But if Tom Brady goes down with Tampa Bay, if Tom Brady goes down with Tampa Bay, if Ben Roethlisberger goes down, if Aaron Rodgers goes down, you're not going to win any games. It's just not going to. You're going to be picking in the top 5.
And see, now I'm going to disagree with you because we did, when Ben Roethlisberger went down, go 8-8.
Okay, but like 8-8 is just like that wasn't your quarterback. That's just your all-world coach holding it together.
And well, wait a minute. You got to give. Listen, I know nobody's going to give Mason Rudolph any credit, but I'm going to tell you right now, stop and back up. Because what Mason Rudolph did as a third-string quarterback, being his very first ever NFL games, I don't think he did too bad because you do realize that Pittsburgh put him in there and said, look, manage the game. Don't try to throw the ball down the field like you did in college. They held him back. They did the same thing to Josh Allen. They did the same exact thing to Josh Allen.
Yes, because they're not very good quarterbacks. What I'm saying is if you have a really good quarterback, you
need to go back and look.
Starters are starters for a reason.
Go back and watch Mason Rudolph in college throwing the football and see how damn accurate he was with his receivers.
I saw Tim Tebow in college. He's the winningest quarterback in college football history. Tim Tebow is. And you know what he was in the NFL? He was a bum. He was a bum.
My point is he wasn't allowed to throw the deep ball. And that's where his arm strength is at. That they held him back because they didn't want him taking chances of throwing interceptions. They wanted him to keep games close. They didn't realize, James Conner was going to miss another 6 games. They didn't realize Juju Smith-Schuster wasn't going to be the end-all, do-all as a number 1. Well, everybody's like, well, he's not a number 1. Well, yeah, not with those 2 quarterbacks, a 3rd and 4th string quarterback. Duck an undrafted free agent to come onto the team? No. Come on, people. But my point is, they both have experience now, and they're still our backups. So if Big Ben goes down, do I expect to see an 8-8 game, 8-8 season again? Or do I think maybe we might actually win a couple more?
I think your division is, knock on wood. Look, I want to preface all of my comments by saying I don't wish injury on anybody. Let's make it clear for all the people out there. We're speaking kind of hypotheticals here, right? We're not wishing. I think your division is better. I believe the Ravens are not better than you, but I think the team is better. I think the Cleveland Browns are better. I think they're better this season.
Right.
Okay.
I agree with you.
A lot of teams in the AFC, I feel like they're better. I believe the Colts will be better with a steady-handed quarterback. I think the Raiders will be better this season with another year under Gruden. Great drafting that Mike Mayock and John Gruden has done. So I don't think you would have now. The one caveat to that is there is another playoff spot. There's 7 playoff spots. So you might be. I think if there had been 7 playoff spots last year,
we would have been in the playoffs.
Or the Raiders would have got that spot. Either you or the Raiders.
I think we had more wins, so I think we would have won that out. But I think you guys would have even made the playoffs.
I didn't even want to. You know what? I didn't even want to go to the playoffs. So when they lost to the Jets, I was like, I don't even want to go to the playoffs no more. I don't even want to go to the playoffs. I'd rather just sleep.
Oh, come on now, Buffalo Bill fans. We know when they lost to Buffalo in Dallas in Jerry's house, that's when you didn't want to go to the playoffs after that.
Well, I just thought.
Come on.
I still believe this, even though they beat us. I believe that the Cowboys are a more talented team than the Buffalo Bills. I believe that, and I still believe that. I just believe that their coaching. I believe that their coaching was just better. McDermott is a better coach than Jason Garrett. That's what it boils down to.
And there's no way you can sit there and tell me that your defense last year was better than Bill's defense last year.
No, it wasn't, and that's where the our defense was terrible last year, and I think that's why they've made the moves that they've made this year. So they're not in a situation. They brought in a lot of bodies on the defensive line. Alden Smith. If you get anything out of Alden Smith, if he gives me 5 sacks, I'm jumping for joy. Bringing in Everson Griffin, bringing in Gerald McCoy, bringing in Dontari Poe to line up next to DeMarcus Lawrence and getting back Tyron Crawford, I think that's going to make. I think their defensive line is going to be special this year. I really do. A veteran defensive line that can get after the quarterback. But guys, we see, you see this, we're talking 10 minutes and then we end up talking another 20 minutes. We could do this like all night. Guys, we appreciate you guys.
We do. And thank you, Marcus, for coming back and doing the show tonight. I appreciate that.
I always got your back. I always got your back. We got some special stuff lined up for you guys. Please make sure you check out the merchandise thing. That's how we're able to get these shows, get programs, get things so we can put nice shows for you guys together. Put a nice product out there for you. Get you a Rise Up T-shirt. I'm printing some up next week for you guys that don't have a Rise Up T-shirt. Hit me in my inbox. We'll get you a shirt next week, and I'll have them out to you. If you're in the Buffalo area, I'm sending a big box to Dre. There's a lot of people out there. I'm shooting them out there to you. Get you a Rise Up T-shirt. If you need a mask, make sure you're wearing a mask. Get at me. We'll get it to you. We got a great show lined up for you next week. I almost cannot wait to do that show. We're gonna have such a blast with that. Also, I'm working on some things over here, guys. I'm gonna keep it a surprise for now. I'm gonna surprise you all. I'm not gonna say nothing. Ramona knows. We got some special stuff lined up for you. We're gonna be giving away some stuff. We're gonna be doing some other things, and just be on the lookout. Rise Up's doing a lot of big stuff. Make sure you support the other shows, our colleagues on some of the other shows on all of the other shows out there. Dennis,
right? Got the
make sure you're watching the Bill show on Sunday morning with Dre. Talk of the town, talk your ish. Watch the trivia on Sunday night. I was actually on the trivia with Eric Manzuk last week. I had fun. Shout out to Dalton Smith. You lucky sucker. I'm going to get you. You ain't going to be this week, but I'm going to get you back. Congratulations to Dalton. He broke Dennis's 8-week streak. He answered 2 questions and won the damn show. But congratulations. We'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a great one. Be safe out there, and we'll see y'all later. Okay. Have a good night.